a hostile foreign power in control of one of the most popular apps in America. The dangers of TikTok, an app found on millions of phones across the nation, dominated a Senate hearing on global security.
Well, TikTok is owned by the Chinese company ByteDance, and the concern is that China's government could gain access to user data and send a steady stream of disinformation aimed at dividing Americans against each other. White House correspondent Abigail Robertson has more.
One thing gaining bipartisan support in Washington right now, banning the incredibly popular Chinese-owned app called TikTok. In a hearing before the Senate Intelligence Committee, top security officials testified as to why Chinese apps and software pose a growing national security threat.
This is not about TikTok. This is about any app, any electronics that are coming from China.
FBI Director Christopher Wray says TikTok screams out with national security concerns, explaining he believes the Chinese government could use it to drive narratives and divide Americans against each other.
Could they use TikTok to control data on millions of users?
Yes.
Could they use it to control the software on millions of devices, given the opportunity to do so?
Yes.
Another hot topic is why the Intelligence Committee is divided on the origins of COVID-19.
Basically, there's a broad consensus in the intelligence community that the outbreak is not the result of a bioweapon or genetic engineering. What there isn't a consensus on is whether or not it's a lab leak, essentially as Director Wray indicated, or natural exposure to an infected animal.
Senator Susan Collins claims China's actions to hinder the investigation into the origin of the virus are not the actions of an innocent party.
I just don't understand why you continue to maintain on behalf of the intelligence community that these are two equally plausible explanations. They simply are not.
Senator James Lankford questioned Director Wray about a leaked memo warning of violent extremist Catholic ideology.
We do not and will not target people for religious beliefs, and we do not and will not monitor people's religious practices. That's not acceptable.
That is completely not acceptable.
Langford added he wasn't surprised to see the source of the memo was a Southern Poverty Law Center.
But for whatever reason, the FBI continues to be able to count on them for who's the listing of a hate group. They have a long history of having anti-Christian bias.
Author Gordon Chang spoke with CBN News' Faith Nation about the growing tension between the U.S. and China and why he believes a war is coming to American soil.
We have a lot of Chinese-made devices in our country, like the drones. And then, if all of that weren't bad enough, we have these big cranes, port cranes, that are meant to be connected to China so China can troubleshoot them, which means that they can then manipulate them and steal data. China can do what's obvious, and that is, in the first moments of a war, manipulate our infrastructure, take it down, the grid, water, all the rest of it.
This week, the White House announced they support a bipartisan bill that would give the president the power to ban foreign-based technologies like TikTok, which currently has over 100 million American users. Reporting from Washington, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
You look at this and you go, well, how could we have gotten to this point where we used to be a world leader in all of the technology innovations, and to have a Chinese company come in literally out of nowhere and create one of the most popular apps in America today? But they did it on top of dance videos. Am I concerned about dance videos getting into the hands of the Chinese government? No, I'm not. But I am concerned about what other information that app could be gathering while it's on your phone. Most users don't know the surveillance they're actually under, that if you allow the app to have your location, or you have the app look at your emails or your photos or any of these other things, that there's a whole treasure trove of information, and literally you become the product. That's why it's free. They're monetizing you, and they're monetizing your behavior and then selling that behavior to advertisers. If they're also exchanging that information with their government, who is somehow plotting to become the supreme power of the world, well, then you've got other problems. And should we be concerned about that? I would say absolutely. President Trump tried to get them to divest the American portion of their viewer base, their app users. That didn't go through. It probably should have, because if an American company owns it, then the Chinese government has no right to the data. But these are just the beginnings of, are we really looking at technology? Are we examining it from the standpoint, is this helping democracy or is this hurting? Is this encouraging free speech or not? Are these platforms, in essence, public utilities? Should they be regulated? I think the answer to all of the above is yes, but our legislative process seems to be so slow that we're not going to get to solutions anytime